Are you planning an event? Managing group payments? TAC makes this effortless. Track attendees and boost engagement before and after your event. Create flexible forms. TAC keeps them in one place. Automate payments. No manual records, no confirmation hassles, plus built-in partial settlements. Group collection. Say goodbye to tracking payments manually. TAC handles it all, even recurring and partial payments with ease. Smart events, seamless collections, all in one place. Join TAC today. Go to tac.plus.
Coming up on the Rawder Kidula Show.
You know the good thing, God is a matchmaker. So He knew I am a talkative man. He had to give me someone to listen to me. She took some 2 weeks.
Yeah, I took some
which
2
was
weeks.
more or less like
not
just
to think really. I wasn't thinking about anything. Why are you taking 2 weeks and you are excited to read the letter? Thank God. He has spoken. Now the man is waiting for an answer. And unfortunately, I put it in quotes. Yeah. By the time we were done with honeymoon, we honeymooned for a month, I think. Or so.
No, not in Zanzibar.
Not in Zanzibar.
That's not what you're talking about.
In our house. We went away for 2 nights and we went back.
The other shocker in our first year is that I had to take a bath in the evening. Now, for 4 years in high school, I took a bath safely every morning. Cold shower in Nyeri. I didn't have a problem with taking a bath. But who says you have to take a bath at night?
In the morning and at night. Your wife,
so,
you know.
Marriage is in such a way that if you marry right, then you get more than you would have asked for.
Oh, yes.
That you actually look at the list that you'd have written. Because before meeting her, I had a list.
Oh.
Even though I never got to date anyone else, it's not that I wasn't seeing people and getting attracted to them.
Yeah.
It's not that she was the first woman that I ever got attracted to. And this is what I would call the rule of the thumb. If we can put the same efforts in making our marriages work as we are putting elsewhere, most of our marriages would actually work.
This is the Rodah Kidula Show.
Hi and welcome back. This is the Rodah Kidula Show. Hope that you're doing well in your marriages, in your families, and even if you're watching this and you're single, the knowledge is power. That's what the Word of God says, that people perish because of lack of knowledge. So the knowledge you get on this show is going to be very, very beneficial one day when you get married. My name is Rodah Kidula, still married for 6.5 years, I think, and enjoying marriage. And yes, we have bad days. This one I saw on Facebook this week, that in marriage we have bad days, good days, very bad days, and very good days. It's just like life. So we keep on moving. I'm on social media as well, Rawder Kidula Keda, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram. Follow me there. We talk a lot about marriage on those platforms. Well, I have some good news. We still have For My Beautiful Teen Girl. This is a book I wrote with my sister from the lessons and the mistakes we made when we were teens. And if you have a teen girl in your life, this is a perfect gift for them. And You Are Now a Man is also back. A very special gift that you can give your teen son. And these books are actually conversation starters. You read with your teens, and after every chapter, we have questions that you need to answer together. And parents, please be truthful. Don't tell them you are always number one. Don't tell them you are never lazy. You always made your bed. Tell them the truth and what you learned from that. So more details on how you can get these books, call the number on the screen. And we still have this 50-day of prayer for my marriage. Every day you make a prayer for your marriage. So this desktop calendar should be at your bedside or in the dining or in the sitting room. Just make a prayer for your marriage every day. You wake up very important. It's marriage. It's actually the grace of God that keeps us married. It's not by power nor might. It is by the Spirit of God. And also, finally, to thank JK Studios for the amazing job recording this show. If you have any event, planning a wedding, a birthday, a church event, and you need photography or videography, contact JK Studios. They're also on social media, JK Studios Kenya. Check out their works right there. So today I have another amazing couple. When they walked in, I was like, oh, these ones are under 10. So they were recommended by a friend to my friend. So guys, recommend couples you like to see on this show, people who are willing to share their stories and their testimonies. I've seen 2 posts this week, people saying people are scaring us about marriage. Are there any people who are enjoying marriage? Are there any people who are happily married? Because what we are seeing, especially on social media, is really scary. So if you know anyone who is willing to share their journey and their lessons, please recommend them to us. My number is always on the description of these videos. So a friend, your friend, how do we even put this? I have a friend in church and you have a friend in church. So the two met and they connected us. Yeah, so thank you for that connection. And what we do here, we introduce one another. So you are going to introduce your husband and your husband is going to introduce you. Who wants to go first? Yay!
Ladies first.
Yes, ladies first. Okay, please. Who is this guy?
Thank you. This young man here is Sammy. I like calling him Sammy. He's Samuel Kihu, and he likes calling himself Kihu Mwangi. Kihu Mwangi is a pastor, a shepherd of God's flock. He is my husband. Married now for 20 years. Going to 21 years, we thank God. He's a trained accountant, but he left all that to serve God. We have 3 children together, and he's been a good father. He is a friend. He is a friend. He has trained me in many things, and he has helped me to gain confidence in life, supported me a lot. A wonderful man he is.
Wow.
Yes, not that he's perfect,
but he's a wonderful
man.
Yeah.
What's his personality?
Sanguine.
Yeah.
And he has taught me to talk.
You were not a sanguine when you were single.
No.
She's not even.
Even now, I'm not so much of a talkative person, but I like to listen as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
We know a bit about you. Tell us about, now that we've been told you're a sanguine.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
You know, the good thing, God is a matchmaker. So he knew I am a talkative man. He had to give me someone to listen to me.
Wow.
Yeah, so Peris, she's Peris Kihu, actually, even officially, in her ID. She dropped, but she added my name into her ID in her 2nd year of marriage. That's
wives. Why haven't you?
Well, I wouldn't want to say that I recommend that to everyone, but yeah.
Do you? Would you recommend it?
I don't know why someone wouldn't want to do that, because I mean, we started off. Let me introduce her first. So Peris, let me begin with saying that she's just a lovely, wonderful woman. Quiet. She can actually be a loner given an opportunity. She doesn't mind to be locked up all by herself. She will need to prepare well if she's going to be in a crowd.
So every Sunday.
Yes, basically, exactly.
Saturdays are stressful.
Yes, exactly. And of course, you know, one of the stressors for women, I don't have anything to wear.
Not just women. Now these are pastor's wife.
Yes, exactly. So I think I've heard that many times. But she's God-loving, fears God. That's something I love about her. She loves me. Yeah, definitely. And
do you love her?
I do. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, I know we'll get to talk about that in terms of
that well.
Yes, exactly. Yes, she wears size number 6, depending with the origin of the shoe, you know. If it's American, it probably might be number 4.5. But
We are sorry.
size 6. Yes, and yeah, she has a sense of humor. Kwa umbali, you know, from afar.
Yeah.
Yeah, she will not be the loudy kind of a person, but if you're careful and keen to listen, you will catch her joking once in a while.
And smiling.
Yeah. She, in terms of pace of doing things, will definitely be way slower than me. I want us to get there fast.
Yeah.
I want to finish up everything and pretty fast. In fact, one of the things that she's very different from me is that I don't mind planning 5 things in a day because I'm more event oriented.
Yes.
She's more relational. She wants to meet Rodah and
talk to
spend
her.
time to her.
Yeah.
If that's all she does in a day, she's
What's
good.
her background career-wise?
She trained as a secretary, then moved on to counseling psychology.
I knew it.
and right now, she's in her 2nd year doing Bible and theology.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Are you practicing counseling?
Yes, I do. I do within church.
Oh, within church.
Because again, I also work full time with the Kenya Assemblies of God as an admin, the
Wow.
missions department.
Kenya
that-
Assemblies of God, KAG.
Yeah, KAG,
Oh,
yes, exactly.
yes.
That's our church.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, your church. Tell us about your
The
church.
headquarters. I work at the headquarters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we pastor a congregation in Kikuyu under the Kenya Assemblies of God Church, Kikuyu Kidfamako area. We've been there since 2009. So yeah, it's been a good time to grow with the congregation. But besides that, we also serve the youth ministry of the Kenya Assemblies of God. I work as the National Youth Director. So overseeing, we have about 4,600 congregations across the nation. Just overseeing activities and leadership training, capacity building, events once in a while, like a major event coming up in the month of April.
April.
Yes.
That is actually the poster I saw from my friend. Yes, that you have a
Yes.
couples thing.
No, the couples thing is coming on the 29th of March.
29th of March.
Yes.
So it's this month, because
Yes.
this is a show that we're posting the first week of March.
Yes.
Yes, so tell us more about that.
Yes.
If any couple is interested.
Definitely, I would love that every couple be interested. And if you're near Kikuyu, we're going to be at Kilimo Resort Saturday 29th.
Yes.
And it's just going to be a conversation together with other couples,
Yes.
different age brackets, so that we can learn from each other.
Oh, yes.
Actually, one of the things that I've learned is sometimes the older couples need to sit and talk with the younger couples, so that some of the things that they might have forgotten.
Oh, yeah, they're
like,
reminded.
Yeah. Mapenzi year 1 and
Yes, honeymoon.
exactly. If that can be repeated over the years, that would be a good thing. So 29th Kilimo Resort.
29th of March. 2025.
Exactly.
So I'm going to put the first comment on this video, details about the couples meeting. Tell a friend to tell a friend if you're within Kikuyu area. We have a couples meeting. Yay!
Yes, exactly. And we're going to have a phenomenal speaker who is going to also be partnering with us for that event. Reverend David Njuguna, wonderful man.
Oh, nice. Then they should also come and sit here.
Yes, we'll get them.
Okay, now we get to your story. Who saw who first?
Wow. Well, we saw each other, but I think I did see her first. I had gone to her church to preach. I was a young, energetic man. I think I still I am.
Yes.
So the church that she was, worshiping at that time was a young church.
Yeah.
So really young, because she was only youth in the church, so it wasn't difficult for me to spot her.
Imagine.
It wasn't difficult for me to spot her. But I had been invited as a crusade guest speaker. So I was there for a week. So I think we met either the first or the second of the crusade. And her pastor told me That's Peris, and she sings. So she can probably join your praise and worship team, because I had come with a praise and worship team from our church. So interestingly, that night, I asked her to write the names of the people who got saved. And the first thing that I liked was her handwriting.
Wait, girls, write. Work on your handwriting.
Yeah, so that's how the story started in 2001. Yes.
2001.
Yes, 2001.
So you had your own praise and worship team.
Yes.
What made you like her?
Wow. Now, I've been in youth ministry all my life. Well, except when I was not a youth.
Yeah.
So basically, I have had girls around me.
Yes.
But I grew up in those days. I grew up in the village, by the way. I grew up in the Abadia Ranges, in a place called Muranga. I'm a PK, I'm a pastor's kid.
Oh.
So
you see, pastors' kids also turn out.
Yes, to be pastors, by the way. And my dad never asked me to become a pastor.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, he probably would have almost done the opposite. Kind of discouraged me until, because I remember even when I went to tell him I want to be a pastor, he said, son, I hope it's not for money.
For money.
Yeah, so my dad, a pastor, my mom, my first Sunday school teacher, actually.
Nice.
Some of my favorite memory verses are in my vernacular. So my mom taught me that.
Okay.
One of the things that I remember my mother telling me and my younger brother, who is also a pastor, over and over again, is two things. Number one, don't go out there breaking hearts of girls.
Oh.
By the way, that's the only
Mom.
marriage counseling that she ever gave me. So twofold, that was one. But number two, pray for her. And she will also be praying for you. So one day God will bring you together. So I think that stuck with me. Now, I don't say that this would work for everyone, but Peris is the only girl I ever dated.
Imagine.
Like,
Call it providence, but that can also happen.
it's possible.
It's possible.
This is your first girlfriend.
Yes.
The only girl. You didn't even have a girlfriend in primary.
No.
You didn't write a letter.
I may have written one letter. I did, which my father got to see, and I was in Form 2 and the girl was in Form 4.
Oh.
Yeah, so...
You're aiming very high.
Yeah, exactly. So we exchanged a letter. My dad saw a photo, and he was like, what is this that I'm seeing? And that was the end of the relationship. So he didn't go anywhere. He died a natural death. So, but
That
committing... committing to someone and telling someone, I love you. This is the first woman I ever told I love you, actually. Because I can't remember telling my mother or my sister. But that wouldn't count, really.
Yes.
So outside of my mother and my sister,
She's
the first one I ever told I love you.
Wow.
I actually didn't know how I would approach her. In fact, I remember, and if Victor Congo will be watching this,
Yes.
he would tell me many years later, they used to tease, they used to joke. We went to high school with him, and they would wonder, Sami atawayoa, how would atakatia demaje, how will he be able to, because I was a SU chair in high school, and I was in a mixed boarding high school. So having girlfriends and boyfriends was the norm. So they used to wonder whether I will ever be able
Get
to
married or even talk to a lady. Did you see him?
Yes, I did. He was very conspicuous because he was
preaching.
He was preaching. I had seen the poster and he was holding this huge Bible. So I had noticed. And apparently in the poster he was bigger than in the actual person. So I was like, who is this? Who is this? So when he came, I took notice of him because he took notice of me. Being the only young person in the church, he asked me many questions. He engaged me. How are things going here? And of course, I was surprised because he listened. I saw a man who is quiet listening to me because that was quite unusual for me. In my spaces, I didn't have someone listening to me that keenly. And now he's a stranger. I'm thinking, wow, there are good men around. But then because he was in a crowd, he had come from a big church, nothing clicked. So I was just like, wow, a good man, a preacher.
Man. God bless him.
God bless him.
He will have a good wife one day.
I didn't even think about why. I was in college, but they were still in college. So that was not even a priority at that time. And that was it. So he kept sending people to our church because after people got saved, he was a very good coordinator. Even if he was not coming, he would send young people from his church to come and disciple, Bible study, you know, every now and then, once a week or even twice. There are times we could have people coming twice a week, and because I was in college, you know, I would come to church maybe later, and he would drop a note, you know, an encouragement note, you know, Sister Peris,
Sister
you
Peris.
know, and some of those scriptures are still in my mind. Psalm 91, you know, he who dwells in the shelter of the Most High, that stuck. And one time he wrote and he said, thought of and prayed for, you are. I was like, hey,
thought for and prayed for, you are.
That really stuck.
You're trying to be poetic.
Yeah, he's trying to be poetic, but there was nothing. He had so many guys around him. I mean, the church was with very beautiful people, and so I wouldn't have thought. Actually, I feared pastors. Anyone who was in ministry was a no for me. I would feel like this is too holy. Yeah, and this man was and is still God-fearing man. So he was there, very far from me.
There.
Up there. So I would really even avoid thinking how do you even think about a man of God? But I noticed him. Very kind, a very kind man, not only to me, but he was kind to everyone.
Now that's the issue we have with mostly youth pastors. They're kind to every girl. So when you think you are the only one, he has said Happy Valentine's Day to the entire church just because he's a good man. So when did you now see him?
The letters clicked. You know, there's a way he would write, and I just kept them. Actually, they got destroyed after some years, after we had already gotten engaged, but were not married yet. Because I would just keep them. I would keep the cards, I would keep the letters. Every small note I would just keep it. You know, the reference point.
She keeps records.
Good thing.
So those letters started communicating something. I'm thinking, even if I'm the only lady here, there's something more. There's something more. And then I started praying for my heart. But apparently at first I would pray that, you know, he be kept away. Because again, I feared probably this is a good man who is playing around with every girl.
Good
probably is taking advantage, you know, I'm the only. So I started praying. But the prayer would just pull me to him all the more. I fell in love with him. And I started praying, God, if he's the one, let him speak. Let him speak. But then, he didn't speak directly. Those days, there were landlines, the telephone, and they were not in every home and in every business. So there's one man who had a hardware around where I was living and had a telephone. So he took the telephone number and he would call that man, and when Peris is home, tell her to talk to me. I'm like, what are we talking about? But you know, my heart is mellowing, you know, there's a way. This one is special, you know. So I would call, and he's like, when you're coming from college tomorrow, come through my shop. He used to sell a bookshop. A brother's, his elder brother had employed him. So we'd go and just have some, you know, just talking. He used to be a Bible reader. Like every time I would go, I would find him reading his Bible. If he's not serving a customer, he's with his Bible. So he'd encourage me. So how are you doing? How is school? So we just developed a friendship. And it became close. It became close until he wrote me some 2 cards. He didn't tell me directly. He wrote me some.
No, but before writing you the 2 cards, I made you disappear for a month.
Oh yeah, these because I found we were getting too close. Too close in the sense that he just wants to see me every now and then. And because I was in college in Huruma, he's in Umoja, it was like, and I was living in Injiru, so it was like on the way home. So come through my my business. As you go home, we'll just talk. He would escort me to the bus station. I just go home, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is a good friend. Because I didn't have friends. I didn't have friends really. So this is the first really tight friend. Yeah. So we were talking, and he engaged me with school ministry missions to high schools. He would invite me for keshas in his church. I'm like, wow, this is wonderful. So we went to different schools, and we're just getting close. I'm seeing him preach. I'm seeing him encouraging people. And he was kind to the team. He was the team coordinator, the leader, and that was very nice. I thought, wow, this is so beautiful. But then there are so many girls, who seem better than me. I would just do a bit of comparing. So a time came, and he wrote me, the time of disappearance, he asked me to go with him to Katoloni for prayers. And I thought...
Prayer and fasting center.
Prayer and fasting center. I thought, this is too much. I can't handle this. How do you go out with someone? Katoloni.
Yeah.
I had not been to Katoloni before. So I thought, no, I can't do this. So I decided to go home from Laikipia. So I went home for 2 weeks, or a whole month actually.
Yeah.
And then there was no contact, no communication, no phones. So I'm running away from him because I'm thinking, this is too close. I can't handle it. And then I was not talking to anyone. I was not talking to anyone about it. So I'm all by myself. I'm not talking to my pastor or anyone or any friend. So
you don't have siblings?
I do have, but I'm the firstborn. So my siblings, I'm alone. So I went home. But let me tell you, that 1 month was terrible. I missed him so much and had no way of coming back to Nairobi. I had no way of coming back.
Look how happy.
It was just a terrible month for me. And then so happened, my parents, I can't remember what happened, but my parents were not around. So I was left at home. Alone. My siblings were in school, so I'm there doing everything. And now I'm missing this man so much. I'm wondering, what's happening with me? And I couldn't wait to come back. Coming back in January, he was looking for me everywhere. He had went to my college, he had went to my uncle's place, he had gone to places, to my the neighbors, the man who used to give us the telephone, the hardware. And nobody knew where Peris was. I mean, nobody knew. And he was so distressed. So the first thing, the second day after arriving in Nairobi, the second day, I went to see him. So again, I found him reading his Bible. So I just stood at the counter there. He had not seen me. And I'm thinking, do I disappear from here? Do I say? And so, of course, he knew there was someone. There's a way you would tell his appearance. And he was so happy. He was so elated. I knew this is it.
I hope that's where he asked, will you marry me?
No, he didn't.
I didn't have the words.
He didn't have the words.
Remember, I grew up in the shags, and this is my first...
That's why you are writing a lot.
Exactly, that's true. I don't know how to verbalize it. Because actually, how I asked her if she would marry me was actually the Valentine's 2002. 2002. Yes. I think just a few days before Valentine's Day. So I wrote a card or two.
2 cards.
Now that I was selling in a bookshop, I had a variety of cards, and I would choose the best and then
use what you have.
Exactly.
There are so many lessons.
Yes. Readily available resources and materials,
The low-hanging fruit.
Exactly. So I wrote the card, and then I gave her I had the cards before she came to see me. And then as I was seeing her off, I made sure that I gave her the cards on her way to boarding a matatu. So it was the last thing. And I said, go and read those cards and kwaheri.
And what actually he said, I've got these 2 cards here. I've got this for you. And what I've written here, I mean exactly. I think he bowed. I mean exactly that. And those cards felt hot in my... I couldn't wait to get home. I didn't open them in the matatu. I couldn't. I went home. I was living in my own house then. So I just got into the house. I locked, and I could feel. I was hot everywhere. So I'm reading the cards, reading the words, reading again, rereading, and I'm like, oh God, thank you. He has spoken.
Now
I was actually thinking
he was asking you to marry him.
Yes.
Oh.
And he didn't want a friendship. Then we think he went straight to the
Yeah,
point.
it's,
Yes.
you know, of course, now this is like a year since we
Got to
first
know,
met.
Yeah.
So, and as she said earlier, we've gone to missions together. Quite a number of, I was leading a team of, we were doing high school ministry. And every time I either had a weekend challenge to do and a couple of Sunday services.
Yeah.
And I wrote her into the team. So we had been to a number of weekend challenges together. I had been to her church a number of times. So for me, I sort of knew and felt that this is a person. So after that, of course, we had the first date, and I told her in that first date that if you're saying yes, I am not here to try whether I want this to work. I'm actually looking for someone to marry. Yeah.
Oh, and she said yes.
She took some 2 weeks.
Yeah, I took some
which
2
was
weeks.
more or less like
not to
just
think really. I wasn't thinking about anything.
Why are you taking 2 weeks and you are excited to read the letter?
Thank God. He has spoken.
Now the man is waiting for an answer. You're taking 2 weeks.
No,
He was also not eager.
Yes, I told
He
her
told
take
me,
your time.
Yeah, take your time.
Was it just words you were saying, or you really?
No, I meant it.
You were not eager?
I was eager, and deep within I knew that it's her. But on the other hand, I didn't want her to commit in excitement.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually remember, I remember this.
Yeah.
She came the following day.
Yeah.
And I told her, no, you told me 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to see you until the 2 weeks.
I was bringing some letter.
Yeah.
Because we had gone to to minister in a school, and he had encouraged me to apply. And so I was bringing the CV, the letter, and all that. And we needed to go to a cyber someplace.
Yeah.
But he was still very emphatic. Please remember.
Yeah,
I
2
don't want to
weeks.
see
Don't
you.
want answers.
I don't want an answer. I don't want to see you.
Wow.
I thought, this one is strict.
This one.
Yes, a man of God, you know. Yeah.
So
but
you
after 2
officially
weeks,
began dating after you said yes?
after I said yes. After 2 weeks, we met in a church, of course, in
Of
the
course.
presence of a friend.
Yeah.
There needed to be a friend somewhere,
Yes.
you know. And so I told him, yeah, I'm okay. You can go on. I can't remember saying yes,
Yes,
but
the
I
word.
said, yeah.
But you agreed.
Yeah. And he told me, yeah, we are not trying this.
Yeah, that's
this
true.
is it.
This is
How
it.
long did you date before now wedding?
No, from that point, and probably we can collapse dating and courtship. I know
Oh, yeah.
different
Yes.
school of thoughts.
Yeah.
Because probably if we were to talk of a date that was exclusive, it's, well, quite a number, because every
number.
time she kept coming, that was
Yeah,
a date,
yes.
really, but not a lot of, I'm not sure there was even Java those days, but we couldn't even
We couldn't afford. We couldn't
Anyway,
afford. We used to meet in church.
Our dates were in church, Uhuru Park, Arboretum. So in church, I would, because I lived close to church, I would fix tea and come with a flask and 2 cups. And we made our little...
Use what you have.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, but from that point, we would have gotten married in April of 2004. But the going to the parents and agreeing, families agreeing, that delayed us a bit until October of 2004.
Are you from different tribes?
No, we're from the same tribe.
Oh.
But her parents felt that we're coming from humble backgrounds, both of us.
Yes.
But her parents said something that was very profound, because they said, we are out for a relationship. So there's no way you're going to come for one time and we say, just go ahead and get ready to get married. It didn't matter how much we brought them. They said, you have to come again. So at that time, though, that was February 2004.
Yes.
And we were hoping we could get married in April. So when they said that, at that point, my mom was ailing. So it was a little bit of a difficult time for us. So it took us a bit of time as a family to get ready. And we didn't go back until August.
Until
June.
together, the two of us, because we just went quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing going on. There was no mobile phone for us that time, so there was no communication even with our parents. And they started getting worried.
Yeah,
If these
exactly.
children go and get married or
Yeah,
something.
what happened? Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe that is something that is critical for parents who want to give away their daughters.
Yeah.
That as much as we want to hold into our cultures, that we need to just strike a good balance.
Oh, yes.
Because I keep on saying that, well, God held us together. But sometimes I feel like you don't want to make them have to wait for each other too long.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not about to change their minds.
Yeah.
No.
You know, irrespective of what you say. And this cuts across whether it's issue of dowry or it's issue of cross-cultural marriages, and the mother or the father is feeling like never. If it's that direction, over my dead body, they would say. But unfortunately, sometimes you, however hard your stance is, you won't change their minds.
You won't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So back to your question, it took us about almost 2 years.
Oh. So your wedding was in 2006.
No, 2004, because we started off in 2002. Yeah, 2004, October.
October.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
What do you remember? Oh, the question is, if you were to do your wedding again, what would you change?
Now, probably, now before we talk about
That
what
is
we would
strange.
change, yeah.
That is strange.
No, actually,
Because
the kind of a wedding we had wanted to do.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, we wanted a simple wedding.
Yeah.
We didn't want to burden.
Pastor. Simple.
He wasn't a pastor then.
I wasn't leading a
He
congregation.
wasn't
at that point,
leading a
yeah.
congregation.
Yeah.
In any case, I didn't want to get married to a pastor, so I didn't marry a pastor.
Oh, you didn't marry a pastor.
But he had mentioned
that
I have a
desires.
calling, and I could see, the kind of serving he was doing.
Yeah.
So I knew he's a man of God, but I didn't want a pastor thing. So I knew probably when we get old, we are over and done with parenting thing. Then we retire, then we can retire into church. I was just surprised, I was surprised. So we wanted a simple wedding, one that we could handle, we could afford. Just the two of us, actually. So we do a budget, this is what we need, this is what we need. We don't need this, we don't need this.
Yeah.
We were not even going to cook for anyone.
Yeah.
We were not going to have anything special also. And so we wanted very, very simple, what we could afford. So we started buying items, shoes. We borrowed my gown. Friends came through for him, the dressing.
Yeah.
It was very, very simple. But then our church and our pastor, his pastor then, said this can't be. We need to.
By the way, at that time, I'm not just the youth leader in our church. I was also leading the Nairobi region in our denomination. They thought, no, we will do what we can. But now the idea of a simple wedding was having led the youth, and even today, by the way, I still do encourage young people that sometimes we want. TV show kind of a wedding.
Yeah.
The most expensive of that, the most expensive of whatever else. But unfortunately, and by the grace of God, I think that is something that He allowed us to figure out quite early.
Yeah.
A lot of young people focus too much on the day.
Yeah, on the wedding day.
And zero efforts are put in marriage. And I keep on asking, why would you spend 1 year planning for 1 day, and then, as a by the way, spend 2 hours with a marriage counselor, which is for the lifetime.
Yes.
In fact, I keep asking people who are getting ready to get married, what is your wedding budget? How much of that budget is going to preparing for your marriage?
Marriage, not wedding.
The marriage.
Because you will find someone has, give and take, $500,000 in today's economy as an average wedding.
Yes.
That is not even a fancy
very
wedding.
low.
It's very low.
Very low.
But they have $500,000 to spend on 1 day, giving us food and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they will not even spend 1,000 shillings to buy a book.
Imagine,
Or attend a conference.
A conference. Or even if they can find a counselor who would be willing to offer their services for free, pay up for some counseling fee.
Yeah.
So I think that is what was the genesis of our desiring to sort of just let young people know, by the way, it's possible to do these things without much of a cost. And I still hold to that view today. I don't have a problem with people doing fancy weddings. When we are now, because we are at the other side now, counseling and also officiating weddings, marriages, we keep telling them, if on your wedding day you want to bring a limo to take us to your wedding, I will ride in it. If you want to bring me a chopper and you're like, Pasi, you're not going to drive your car, we will fly you here. I'll glad. However, I am more interested in what are you going to do after we all go home.
Yes.
Yes. Because that is where the shocker begins. And probably I want to, at this moment, give a shout out to Reverend Thomas Kariuki and his wife Sarah, Banana Baptist Church. He had us go to his house for 9 months.
Going to his house?
Yes, once a month.
Once a month?
Once a month for 9 months.
Wow.
Because we picked him for our best man. And he told us, we're not going to best you if we're not going to counsel you.
Oh, nice.
And our counseling is 9 months long.
9 months long.
Wow.
And we are forever grateful. We're forever grateful. We are not as strict as him. We don't ask people for 9 months, but we probably won't do anything less than 5 months of prima.
Actually, twice a month.
Exactly. Because again, we want to. What we figured out, and this is something that is actually statistically proven, that one of the biggest causes of trouble and problems in marriage is lack of premarital counseling. It's something in common. Even in my pastoral ministry, every time I have a couple sitting across the other side and they have an issue, when we ask them, but they tell us the story, how did you connect? One of the common things is nobody ever prepared them for what they were getting into.
Because they didn't even seek preparation.
Exactly. Because there's really nothing too much of a shocker. There are a couple finds that nobody else has gone through. So if only we cared to ask, somebody would have told us. When she gets pregnant, things will drastically change. When she gets a baby, the baby will come and try to force herself right in between you. Be careful of that.
So your wedding was opposite of what you had thought you would have.
It still wasn't that. It wasn't grand. It wasn't that big still. But definitely it was not a small. We had actually wanted to walk into church Sunday morning. Worship goes on. Then after the service, pastor calls us to the front. We joined. We walk back home. After all, we have been walking all these years. So it was going to be, actually our budget was not going to be more than 5,000 shillings. But then our wedding rings were 200 shillings worth then. Now we've changed
this
since.
Is better.
We have something.
That is better.
Yeah, that's true. But that time we spent 400 shillings on our wedding rings.
But as you've said, if you can, the bigger the testimony,
exactly.
the bigger. The more people know that weddings still happen.
No, it's good. Only don't get into debt to wear an expensive ring or to give us a big cake or wear a gown. I don't know. If you're getting into debt, I think I have a problem.
And overburdening people. The people you want to support you.
Once you get married, now you can talk about the people.
Yes, exactly. When you're on the other side and you know this card and that card and that person, WhatsApp group,
you get a text every morning.
Yeah, exactly.
From someone you were with in primary school.
Yes. That's true.
I have a gift for your teen daughter. Sorry to interrupt the conversation. My name is Rawder Kidula, and I present to you this book for my beautiful teen girl. It's a gift challenging the teen girl to have godly values. It talks about many issues that they go through and inspires them to be better teens. See details on the screen of how you can get it. Thank you.
So we get into your first year of marriage.
Yes.
How was it? What shocked
Shock
you?
us.
Really?
Oh, of course.
This is you've described a man of God who reads the Bible daily.
Yes.
And this quiet woman.
Let me tell you,
Do you know how many men are praying for quiet women?
the first shocker for me was why she can't make breakfast every morning.
Every morning you
The
needed
first
breakfast.
year. You hear about
Oh, the first year. Oh,
Yes.
no, that's later on.
Yes.
That's after children started coming. Our
Yes.
first child. Let go first.
My greatest shocker was this man loved books.
Uh-huh.
And unfortunately, I put it in quotes.
Yeah.
By the time we were done with honeymoon, we honeymooned for a month, I think,
Eish.
or so.
No,
Yeah,
not in Zanzibar.
not in Zanzibar.
That's not what you're talking
In our
about.
house. We went away for 2 nights and we went back. Actually, on honeymoon was paid for.
Yeah, somebody, by the way, somebody
Somebody
generously.
did it for us.
you.
Yeah.
And we really thank God for that. So we went back to our house and just, we were friends. We would go shopping together. We would stroll around together and it was great. By the time I was going back to work, because I was working, he went to Bible school. That was the first shocker. I'm like, Bible school?
Yes.
How now? Okay.
You thought
Who
you would
did I
become
marry?
a pastor later on?
Later on.
Yeah.
But then I still had a consolation. He does not have a church. So what I ended up, okay, let him go to school and,
Yeah.
you know. But the adjustment, knowing that I have someone to cook for, I can't just wake up and go to work without, taking care of
someone.
of someone. The work thereof just started.
Yes.
Having to wash, and not just for me, for him as well. The adjustment bit was quite a shocker for me. I think I didn't understand it when our counselors told us that it is work. I think it still didn't make sense at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know, for ladies, we know, actually some of us anticipated, I can't wait to have a husband and
Yes.
cooking for him. But now when it's kwa ground,
That's true.
the reality,
It
you're
is,
like,
yeah.
this cooking is daily.
Yeah.
I have to
It is
think
daily. You have
about
to
what
think.
Yeah.
That's true. I had to think of what to cook. And although I would even send him or we just go shopping together, it was so tiring. Remember, I have a full-time job by that time. I used to work for a good boss, but then the hours I had to log in the whole day, up to Saturday. I only used to have a Sunday off, and it was so tiring. I would find myself so tired by the end of the day. I'm wondering, this extra person, who takes care of him? Yeah, that was a shocker for me.
I
And
think
you?
year one,
I have a question.
year one for me, the biggest shocker would be that this nice, beautiful looking, calm girl is seeing anything wrong with me and getting angry. And I would feel like, now, what is there to anger you? I remember one particular time I come from class. I was an evening student because I still went to work at that point.
Yeah.
So I was going to class in the evening and coming. And I would come and she has come from work. So I expect her to cook. So there's still the expectation of
The
cooking.
expectation, yeah.
And
An
one
African
time,
man, you know.
one time she's cooking chapati. I love chapatis ever since because I grew with very few chapatis. I mean, it was ceremony in our home. We had a song even when chapatis would be cooked. And and that would be, if you're lucky, twice a year.
Oh.
So I love chapatis. And this particular day, I remember she's cooking chapati and she's angry. And I'm wondering, why are you angry with me? What are you angry for? And later on, she will tell me, you just come from class and you just sit there and wait for me to do everything for you.
That thing
And I'm like,
really
duh.
hurts.
What? I mean,
What do you want me to do?
what's wrong with that? I mean,
I am the
yeah.
husband.
The other shocker in our first year is that I had to take a bath in the evening.
Yeah.
Now, for 4 years in high school, I took a bath faithfully every morning, cold shower in Nyeri. I didn't have a problem with taking a bath. But who says you have to take a bath at
In the
night?
morning and at night.
Your wife,
So
you know.
go to cold water. I don't have a problem, but early in the morning. But for her, she's like, you've spent the whole day out there with everybody. So, by the way, that is something that became, well, it never really divided us, but it became a debate for many years.
Yeah.
So my default, in fact, when we are talking with couples, we tell them, by the way, everyone has their default.
Yeah.
So even today, my default is taking a bath in the morning. That's my default.
Yeah.
But for her, take a bath at night.
Yeah.
The other shocker is that we have to remove clothes from the bed and hang them properly, and they have to be hung in a particular way. You don't hang a shirt inside out. Who cares? We're hanging the shirt and we are not wearing. It's in a hanger.
I see you had work.
Overnight.
You had work here.
Then the bed, the bed sheet has to face a certain direction. Who cares?
We were taught in home science.
I mean,
But
we were taught.
sleeping, does the body wonder whether the flowers are facing up or down?
I would feel like I'm falling.
Oh.
So yeah, so those were some of the shockers.
Oh, yeah.
Just
And some of them,
adjusting it.
Adjusting,
exactly,
adjusting, yeah.
exactly.
And sometimes some of these adjusting and the shockers are the reasons why people leave.
Yeah.
For you, it is petty.
Yeah.
But you see the way you said, what's wrong with that?
Yes.
Everything is wrong.
Yeah.
With me cooking chapati and you coming and sitting.
Exactly.
Everything is wrong with that.
Yeah.
And how did you now find a balance
Yes.
in
Wow.
adjusting?
Yeah, we would remember the lessons.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, those of you seated, you know, the counselor is telling you this and asking questions, and it looked like, well, it's for those other people.
other people don't know.
They are not in love like we are.
Yes,
So-
yes.
Forgetting that love will not clean, you know, those utensils, and will not cook. You have to do the cooking. Somebody has to cook.
Yes.
And of course, everybody needs to eat. So I would remember. And then we were friends,
Yeah.
and we still are. So wouldn't like to be angry. I wouldn't like to be angry with him forever.
Yeah.
I would feel very uncomfortable. Even today, when we are not in very good terms, we would not want to prolong that. So one of us just humble and, you know, by the way,
Who is
what's the
one of
problem? Either.
Oh,
Yeah.
either.
Either of us.
If it's a particular person.
No, it's not a
then-
particular person.
Uh-huh.
One time is me, the other time is him coming close and asking, by the way, we really don't need. What's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, I expected this, I expected this other.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I didn't do. You know, there's just a way that we come together. We don't allow those gaps to be prolonged. So that really helped.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
helped.
What
true.
were you expecting when you were saying I do and
Yes.
becoming a husband?
Apparently, that's a question that I don't want to say probably it's been long and it's become hazy, but probably that doesn't have a very clear answer.
Uh-huh.
To begin with, I don't think I had a template
Oh.
in terms of, you know, I'm looking for a woman of this kind. I had a few things here and there. I think I wanted someone shorter than me. I wanted someone a little lighter skinned. But I think the overwhelming person that I found in Paris took care of even the you know, little details here and there. So I wouldn't say that I had a list of expectation that, you know, I was going checking, other than the key things. She loves the Lord. I think she loves me, and we can understand each other.
Yeah.
So there, I think I've just figured out
Yeah.
with time. And sometimes I would say, or rather, where I'm at now, looking back in hindsight, I'd actually say I'm also glad that I didn't have so much of a list.
Uh-huh.
Because marriage is in such a way that if you marry right, then you get more than you would have asked for.
Oh, yes.
That you actually look at the list that you'd have written. Because before meeting her, I had a list.
Oh.
Even though I never got to date anyone else, it's not that I wasn't seeing people and getting attracted to them. It's not that she was the first woman that I ever got attracted to. But I remember at one point, as a youth leader with these many girls around me, not just in our church, but across the region that I was leading, at one point I realized I'm so confused. Because every Sunday I would see a different one, and I'd like, I think this is better than the other one. And I remember going to my pastor's wife and telling her, I'm confused. I feel it's time for me to get married, but it's like I don't know who I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I have never forgotten her answer these many years later. Because she told me, you just seek the Lord and be faithful in what you're doing.
Yeah.
When you get the one you're looking for, you will know.
You will know.
Now, this may sound awkward, but sometimes I say the journey to looking for the right person to marry is like a city whose description is somewhere in your head, but you've never been to. But it's when you get there that you actually realize this is where I was coming.
Yeah.
So then the question of expectations, I wouldn't give a very clear-cut checklist kind of a thing that I had. I was also probably a little naive. Hadn't tried a lot of things to have known this is not what to go for, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Now we're in marriage.
Yes.
Babies. When do babies come?
Wow.
Too soon.
Wow.
Immediately.
Not immediately.
Not
I don't think
That one month
it was.
honeymoon.
No.
No.
I think we considered after 3 months.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we considered, and it was okay for me. I didn't struggle really. I was waiting. I was expecting.
Oh.
I was expecting that I will need to have a baby. And for me, this African feeling like I'm not properly married until I get a baby. That was still at the back of my mind. So I was very excited when we,
Conceived.
I was still shocked, like, oh, you're pregnant,
Yes.
But I was happy. I was happy with that. But still, it was work. Now adjusting, it wasn't so much of an issue. I didn't have those morning sickness. That with the first baby, no trouble. I would walk, I would work, I would bend, I would do my things just normally. It wasn't so much. But then at the end of it, I got into so much labor that led to a CS that we did not expect. We had not even thought about it. So the expenses just,
We didn't even have the money.
We didn't even have the money. But
You are both working, and you keep saying you don't have money.
Yes, we were working.
We were working and having enough
For the day.
And we were grateful. We were grateful. So that is the bit that shocked us. The expense that came with the baby, because needing an extra hand to help, it wasn't easy at that point. But I think the determination to just keep going. And now our backgrounds are not so smooth. So we had seen all these lack, so this was not so much of a shocker. We have done this before. We didn't have all the meals that we would have wanted, but we pulled through. But then that stuck in my mind. It was traumatic. First of all, the giving birth part of it, and it was very traumatic. And we decided, I decided, no other baby. I think I was born once, so I've done my bit.
You've done your bit. I have a baby girl.
A baby girl. I thought
You are done.
I'm good. I'm good. And he agreed with me for a while.
For a while.
5 years.
For 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah,
No
that's
babies,
true.
no nothing. I was just overly sensitive. The trauma and all that. But then, by God's grace, but I also went for counseling. We explored all that, and we decided we are ready for another baby.
Oh, you decided.
We decided, and it was nice. The second baby, I was a happy woman. I was so happy. When our son was born, he was also a very happy baby. He would laugh and laugh
And the process wasn't that bad?
The process wasn't as easy because I still went through another CS. Actually, he came a month earlier. And he came at a time when my dad was ill and living with us.
Oh.
Again, there was no money. He came a month earlier. We didn't have a single item related
Ready
to our
for
baby.
him.
You see, these 5 years, I had
And
given
it's
out
a
the
different
items.
gender.
And a different gender.
And even if, those days, nappies you could have,
Oh, it was nappies
we used
day.
nappies.
Yeah. At that time, we were using nappies because of where we are at.
Where we are
But we've given out everything.
Everything.
Baby,
Because you
baby.
have said
After
no
all,
baby.
we don't want any
Yeah.
other baby.
Oh.
So when he came, there was not even a single item related to a
Well.
baby 1 month earlier. And I thought, wow. I remember us telling each other, wow, we've been caught up like teenagers.
of
What are we doing
That's
here?
true.
Who do we
Yeah.
tell?
Yes.
So again, it was not easy. We went to hospital, another CS, but then because it was earlier, he was not, his lungs were not very well developed.
Yeah.
We stayed in hospital for 2 weeks.
Oh.
But he didn't even need those
You
clothes.
didn't even need the clothes
Yeah,
that
he
we
was
were
very
worried
busy
about
in
for 2
hospital.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, by the time
Nursery and no
But
clothes
the
at all.
expenses now.
we had cover,
Oh, you had
NHIF cover,
insurance.
really helped us at that point.
Mm.
I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah.
That did not stretch us. So by the time I was coming, he had gone to toy market and
Hey,
to wherever
you know toy
and there was
market.
Yes, I got to know.
He got
I
to
asked her sister to take me there and help me buy.
so I found a lot of clothes, and by the grace of God, people visited with clothes, such that even when he was
4 years.
5 years, he was still wearing those clothes.
Wow.
God's providence
Wow.
again.
You know, also
Yeah.
the people who do a good thing, they visit you with clothes that are 3 sizes.
Yes, that's
Bigger.
what we do.
That you have to fold and fold and fold, and the baby is somewhere in
Exactly.
there. Yeah, by the grace of God. Yeah.
How was it for you, the
Now,
pregnancy and
Yes, the
babies?
pregnancy, of course, the good thing is that we have a manual, sort of, to go back to. So something happens and it triggers something that we've had, and especially with our counselors, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, but the adjustment is not easy. You know, there's a difference between the head knowledge
yeah.
and the practice of what you know. It's one thing to know that when the baby comes, my wife will change.
Yes.
She doesn't have the flexibility of sleeping as she would like,
Oh, yes.
running up and down, and and all that. So it wasn't very easy for me to adjust.
Yes.
In fact, I wasn't a very nice husband.
That season.
Yes, in fact, I would say that I'm just catching up,
Yeah.
It takes time, and anyone that feels like you want to give up because it seems like this man is not getting it. We don't get it. It takes a bit of time for us to get it. And it takes God and work on both of us until, we rub against each other and we smoothen one another.
Yeah.
Because I remember one of the things that I used to do that was very nasty. At this point, I'm a pastor because
Oh,
when
yeah.
You became a
became a pastor.
when our daughter was 3 months old.
Yes.
Oh.
Oh,
3
yeah.
months old.
3 months. We opened a
So
church.
yes, and I'm pastoring this young church. I'm expecting. She's in the praise and worship. She's the children's. It's a young church.
Yeah, she
we were.
is the women's ministry.
everything.
leader.
She's working 6 days a week. She's nursing a mother, a baby, nursing a wound. We were commuting probably like from one end of the city to the other end because we were living in Eastlands, pastoring a church along Gong Road. And I would leave early, leave her preparing the baby. Yeah, go and set up church and stuff. She's coming later, but thank God there was somebody who would lift her, an elderly man that recently went to be with the Lord that had just joined us to support us. And I would leave and they would come later on. But now, fast forward, we left that church after 3 years and we're in another church. I know I'm mixing up the stories a bit. But the part of adjustment for me is this part where I'm still expecting her to serve me as she used to, with all the energy. So I remember I would wake up some mornings and I'm ready to go to church and she's still asleep. And I'm like, do you mean I'm going to church without taking breakfast?
Instead of fixing.
I know.
And there is everything.
No, when they were single men.
Do you know?
They knew
Yeah,
how
of
to
course, I used to fix eggs and ugali. That was the commonest food. And when it's...
But you could make tea.
Yes, tea, yes, exactly. But now I'm married, I'm married. I married you. So that really took a bit of time and a toll on us.
Yeah.
Because I wounded her big time.
Yeah.
And she's the kind of a person who you wouldn't tell from the expression that she's angry. Nothing much changes. It took me a bit of time. Right now I am able to quickly pick it. But that time she would keep it to herself. In fact, one of the things that she used to do, she would get angry, and now I know those will be the cleanest days of our home, because the way she poured out her anger was cleaning the cobwebs and washing, the floor, the toilet. And now she would come to bed at 1 in the morning or 2.
When you are asleep.
And I'm like, I have such a hardworking wife who's like me.
If only you knew.
I would kill someone.
If a woman is cleaning the house and they're not talking to you,
beware.
You're not together. Run for your life, run. Murife, run. No, it's Murife, don't run.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
help and do something.
Talk to her.
There's one particular incident. Those are the days that smartphones had not caught up with me. They had just started getting into the market, but I couldn't afford one.
Yeah.
So I had a phone that I used to call a black battery. It was a small, tiny phone. I can't remember what model it was, but it was probably no. Oh yeah, it was a Nokia. Black. I loved that phone, and I would misuse that phone in terms of our marriage.
Yeah.
Because I would get to church, of course, before her, because I left her preparing the baby.
Yes.
We had one child at that point. So
I was expectant. Actually,
she's expecting our second child. Yeah.
I remember that phone very well.
Yes. So we get to church. I get to church. Praise and worship is beginning, and the pastor's wife is not here yet.
Yeah.
In our back setting, they're called Mama Pastor, of course, which is a wrong term. Mama Pastor hajafika, and we are sitting, supposed to be sitting at the front, and I'm texting her, and I'm asking her, how far? Why are you late for church?
Sure.
And she got a message from me every Sunday morning. Please, pastors, don't do that. If you left her at home, leave her.
Leave her alone.
If you want to know where she is and why she's taking so long, wait for her and go with her to church. I mistreated this woman. So, funny story. One Sunday, that time the toilet in the church was the slam dunk one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the toilet.
Yes, the toilet. The latrine.
Yeah.
Yes. So I got to do what we normally do in
the latrine.
In the latrine. And I didn't take care of my pockets. So my phone, chua.
Praise the Lord.
But this is before I do the text. So that day she's like,
I'm waiting for the
why is the text not coming? What has happened?
Yeah, like my husband has finally learned patience.
No.
I'm just wondering, is there something wrong? I'm actually thinking there could be some troubles or something. Something must have kept him from
So I came to church, and I'm not sure that we talked about the phone, but finally I told her that I lost my phone. And she would tell me later on, I don't know how much longer. She was so happy.
I was so happy. I was so glad.
The phone fell in the pit latrine.
Yeah. The black thing is gone.
Finally, I don't know whether we had a conversation immediately.
We did. Actually, that made
around that time.
Yeah, I made him aware what.
I never wrote those messages again. So how would I have done that differently? Wake up, take my bath, fix breakfast, kiss her goodbye, and tell her, honey, when you get up, breakfast is ready. Because this is the reason. This is the situation that she was in. She's working 6 days a week. Sometimes Saturday she would even come home at 8 p.m. Then I'm leaving her to take care of the baby. So later on she would tell me, she would wake up in the morning, Sunday morning, and wish she wasn't a pastor's wife. That she would just sleep in that day. She's so tired. And she doesn't, going to church is the last thing she wants to do. Simply because she's tired. Then she has this baby that she's been left with.
And she's expecting.
And she's expecting another one. And the guy responsible is making every other person happy in church. And everybody is saying, we have a wonderful pastor. No wonder sometimes church members say we have such a wonderful pastor. It's only the wife that
That's the problem.
we are actually the
because
problem.
The man of God comes at 5 a.m.
Yes.
Then the wife drags herself here at 10.
And she's so moody and looking
And
so
sad.
she can't
She doesn't
smile
even
with
smile at
anyone.
people.
But how can she?
Oh, God forgive us.
God forgive us. Men, may the Lord
can
help
do
us.
better.
Yeah.
Men can do better. And the pressure.
Yeah.
The church is already giving her enough
Exactly.
pressure.
Exactly.
So as a husband,
Yeah.
you can. Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It's good to have a pastor who can actually be genuine and say, in this area I messed up.
That's true.
And this is how I came out. What has been the greatest challenge in these 20 years of marriage? Or the most challenging season?
Yeah. For me, because I know it could be different,
Yeah.
but for me, it's a number of episodes of sickness. And especially with her. I have generally have had good health, and I bless the Lord for that. But now 3 CSs and another operation after that. So she's gone through 4 operations over our 20 years of marriage.
Yeah.
So those are always low moments because doctors, in the wisdom that God has given them, have a tendency of cutting the exact same place because they don't want to fill the body with scars. So you're going back to the same wound and tearing it up again. And, so that is one. But the second season of sickness was actually our daughter. Our third born, she came soon
close.
after
The
second son. Yeah.
That one chose herself.
Oh yeah.
She planned for herself.
She came and exactly. But before she was 5 years, she had suffered burns 3 times. Yes.
What are we talking about, burns?
Boiling water poured on her. I think it's the first time it was tea. She was, just learning how to walk and move too fast. Even today she's very fast, by the way. Moved too fast, grabbed a cup of water, and she had a tea and burnt her hand.
Yeah.
The second time, moved too quickly. Someone had set up the jiko in the kitchen, kettle in the kitchen, and poured water on herself. And then again, a third time, close by. In fact, she has scars even today. So this third time, apparently, for some reason, we didn't change hospitals. We went to the same hospital the 3 times. So the third time, we were actually sent to a counselor, actually a social worker of some kind. And she asked us, do you have a problem?
Yeah.
Do you have a problem in your marriage? What's happening?
Is all this happening while you're there?
No, one time with the house.
But with children, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does not matter. But once actually with her.
The last one and the worst.
Yeah.
I was actually with the 2.
Oh.
But you see, they're small.
Yes.
So one is calling mommy there, the other one is doing things. I'm not even aware that something is happening, and the cry comes, and it was so bad. But thank God it was the last.
That was probably the lowest moment.
So someone could think you are careless.
Oh yes. They actually thought
and we should take this child from you.
Exactly.
That was a conversation. She was saying, do you know, if this was America, you wouldn't have gone home with this child.
Yeah, that's true.
But again, God works in His ways. God is sovereign.
Yeah.
He is sovereign.
Because even the things that we think, was it not your responsibility? And I know there's that, but there's God's sovereignty and there's our responsibility. Yeah. That's the reason we trust God, but we fasten our safety belts in the car. Yeah. We trust God, but we lock our houses.
Yes.
But even in the difficult seasons, the sovereignty of God is still seen.
Yeah.
Because I remember years later, after our daughter had healed, a member of our church had her daughter go through the first experience of our daughter, tea, and we went to visit with her, and she was very discouraged.
Oh.
But when she heard our story, she was like, I'm not such a bad pastor. Parent.
I'm not a bad mother,
these things happen. Yeah, so, the scripture in Romans, that in all things God works together for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purposes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
your season?
What hit me first was my mother-in-law's death.
Oh.
Because his mother died less than 2 years after we got married.
Oh.
And she was such a sweet woman. So I didn't get to experience this mother-in-law love, but she was a good woman. I also lost my dad. After he stayed with us for a while, I lost my dad. So death in the family, but also sickness was really, really low moments for us. These are very, very stretching. And also, both my mom and dad had lived with us where they were sick. I think those were just very low moments. We were really stretched financially, emotionally, in all ways. Those were really, really low moments. Yeah. But the good thing is that we have worked together. We've been friends when we didn't have anything. We have been friends when we are crying. We are happy. You know, we've just been together.
What's the most challenging thing about being a pastor's wife?
Wow. I think it's to live, thinking about what they are thinking about. That is the most difficult. That is the most difficult. But God is helping me to live to please Him. Not think about, because I wouldn't have control of what other people, because they will think anything or nothing. By the way, they are you think they are thinking about you, they are not even thinking about it. They are busy with their lives.
They didn't even notice your new dress.
Imagine, are you here wondering, was I smart or what? Just live your life, live authentically. I would say that. Please God, please your husband. This is what matters.
That's true.
But I've struggled with that bit.
And especially now that she didn't want to get married to a pastor.
Oh yes. How did you adjust when he became one?
Oh, God has worked on me. Yeah, God has worked on me. I don't know what I would be if I was not married to a pastor. Probably I wouldn't be a Christian. That's what I think. Because
he has grounded you.
God just, the kind of, in a class setting when a child is, not a very good child, and they sit at the back and the teacher tells you come and sit here. I think that's what God, you come and stay with me as well. You go to church.
Yes, you have to go to church.
It was those moments
because even when you were pregnant, 9 months,
I mean, I'm tired.
And everybody knows.
And everybody knows, they understand. So God made sure I come in front. I'm here in front. That's how I take it.
But I think the pastors also need to make the life of their wives a little easier.
Their spouses.
The spouses, whichever they are, because it could be the lady pastor. Just remember that most of the attention is with the pastor. If there's anyone to be served a glass of water, most probably it's the pastor.
It's the pastor.
And some churches that have the tradition of gifting the pastor once in a while, a suit for the pastor, rarely anything for the wife, not even a handkerchief. Our pastor. So the pastor needs to have the responsibility of drawing out the wife. Give her an assignment once in a while, or introduce her. Just mention, that's my wife. Just working together in making that happen. And then, when I went to the church that we are in, my predecessor was a lady. So I needed to let the church know that my wife may not, and that church has had 2 lady pastors. So the church had known, women in the front line. And I told her, I told the board, I remember in our first meeting, my wife will take time to learn this church, and then she will find where she fits. But I won't be asking her to do anything. For instance, I want to ask her to come and sit with me in the board. I want to ask her to do children's ministry, as probably other lady pastors or pastors' wives had done. So she will fit in. And her field is back-end counseling, one-on-one. She thrives in that. Of course, in the women's ministry. So I think that's the other support. Well, it's a little challenging when the church is young, because nobody else can do it if the pastor's wife doesn't do it. But if the church has a number of people, or if you can grow some people, don't put too much pressure on both the pastor and the pastor's wife or spouse and the pastor's children. Let them grow into their calling and their ministries.
And probably I would add, the spouse, the pastor, should love their spouse not for a show, because the show is just that.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you do at home when nobody's watching?
Exactly.
He needs to validate me at home. So that
Not
even if
introducing me as
not
my
introducing me, this is my queen, that does not matter.
Yeah.
But if I feel I'm the queen at home, so I once told him, you don't have to keep on introducing me in church. Everybody knows I'm your wife, unless there's...
No, he has to.
For me, I didn't see it as a necessity. I told him, work at home. I mean, if at home you're introducing me to yourself, you keep validating me, you know, I love you and all that, it will be automatic. And even if he does not do it,
I'm okay.
you know, I'm just fine. Nothing changes because he introduced me.
And you know what?
Yeah.
We're leading smart people.
Yeah.
You know,
They know.
There's a statement that may sound, you know, from other, not church too much, that what to see wajinga, people are not fools. That is true. That is very true. So, buana, exactly. So this is the truth.
Yeah.
Even before I stand in the altar, at the altar, and say, this is my lovely wife, they already saw me from the moment I walked. If we didn't walk in together, my response or reaction to her,
response when you introduce her.
So they already know whether we are friends or not. So I think it's good. Just be natural. Walk and loving one another. And by the way, one of the things that we've stuck with ever since we got married, we hold hands. If we start walking out of here, it is so natural that somehow, and we just do that. And it's not because of who is watching or it's not for the cameras. So if that is happening and it's natural, then the other things fall in place.
I would like to ask, one of the reasons I was really scared of getting married to a pastor was the attention they get. Hey, me, I don't know. Because now the ladies come, they tell him their issues.
Yes.
You are walking with him, and then I just come and
hugging. No, don't hug my husband like that.
Except with your permission.
Not even hugging. Maybe I just come and I say, oh, Pasi, I need to talk to you. So you two are not in good terms. Maybe I don't know how I would handle. I think God just had mercy on me.
It's difficult, huh? I struggled with that. And you can't really avoid that. They're jealous. This man is getting too much attention and all that. But again, I just deal it with God. I need to have the right attitude. I know the kind of work he does, and he cannot avoid people, and he needs to show compassion. And indeed, that's what I liked about him, this compassion about people. I told him, I like the way you take care of everyone, not just me. Because if someone is just taking care of you and harassing everyone, then something is wrong. So I just got to understand his work and check my interaction with people is not on what are you telling my husband. I mean, this is their pastor. Yes. For as much as he's my husband. So he needs to have this wisdom. When I'm dealing with the church people and everybody else, it is just that. This is work, this is ministry. When I come to my wife, again, that's another thing that I need to take care of. So we have tried, but I had to deal it with God. I kept saying, God, I didn't want a pastor. But then I'm already in, and there's no way out.
That's true.
So I needed to really work with it. And
at the same time, while we are there, we also need to realize that they also need a couple that are, and this is not just pastoral, even in the marketplace. Because there's relationship beyond marriage with wherever else will be, whether we are in business or we are in corporate or wherever, that every couple needs to know what boundaries they are putting. So if I would speak in the context of pastoral ministry, we have an agreement. I can't remember whether we had a conversation, not once but over time. If I am seeing a counselee who is a lady, I see her once alone. If she needs me to see me more than once, and it's a counseling issue, if it's not just pastoral, a member who is coming because of work we are doing, is a lady, but in ministry, leading the women on staff. If it is counseling, I see her, I listen to her, and then I tell her, would you allow me to involve my wife in this?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, that will be the end of counseling.
That's a red flag.
It is.
So I bring her and we agree this will be. Then just letting her know where I'm going.
Oh, yes.
So if I'm going to meet someone and it's not her and it's a lady, she will not get surprised. Unless it was a surprise meeting. But we also tend to talk a lot. We tend to we tend to sort of almost give each other
updates,
pin of where I'm at now.
That's true.
I'm leaving the house. I'm meeting so and so. So my phone is going to be on silent for an hour now. So if somebody comes home or meets her, I saw your husband with a lady in this hotel, and she's like, yes, I know. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So and I think that's a boundary that everyone needs to keep, and men need not feel like your wife is snooping into your life. There's a conversation that I don't entertain. This conversation of what is she doing with my phone. I keep on wondering, wait a minute. Phone, pin yako ni siri yako, ATM. I keep on wondering, are you for real? Because if you've worked on the bigger issues, that there is trust and mutual agreement, then those are non-issues. Because this is what I ask myself, Rodah. I sleep with her at night.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm so tired, I am dead asleep. She's a deep sleeper, I am not. But sometimes I'm so tired, she will tell me some things that happened at night and I didn't hear. She could have done anything with my life.
If she wanted to.
And then I want to let her know my PIN.
My PIN. You're more protective of your phone than your life.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's funny.
You've seen on social media people from the coffin saying, I forgot to lock my phone.
And they're dead.
They're like, where I forgot to lock my phone. That's true. So the phone is more important. As we wind up, what is killing marriages in today's generation? Especially Christian marriages.
Christian marriages, Wow. Many things. Of course, we want to blame the devil.
He's in the details.
He's in the details, but we want to ask.
The devil has his role.
Yes.
No, we want to ask, how did he come in? Because God is for marriages.
Yes.
Hebrews 13:4, marriage is to be honored by all, and marriage bed kept pure. Genesis 1, marriage is God's idea, and it's for life. And let's not debate about that. What was God's will? It does not matter how many marriages are breaking. Good food is good food, even if you have bad cooks. That doesn't change the fact that they are good cooks. All right? So just because you went to a place and you ate mashakura and everything, that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody who does some very good, appealing food. So there are marriages that are working and thriving, even though there are many marriages that are not working. And for multiple reasons. Number one, we are in a generation, a time that things have changed a lot. In the yesteryears, the generation of people who were getting married in the 60s and the 70s, there were not a lot of distractions. Most of the mothers were stay-home moms, or if they worked, they were in the farm. So we were more communal. So one of the things that have intruded our lives and we have not known how to manage is actually the very things that have gotten to help us. Social media and the general spectrum of technology. It has connected us with the world. Unfortunately, it has disconnected us with the person who is closest. So I'm in the house, chatting and giggling with someone in America and frowning at my wife.
The person
So I think we just need to agree on some of those things and ask. For instance, something that she has been very kind to help me in, I'm still work in progress, doing better. Now, when you get to the house and you're still on your phone, it's as good as not being in the house. So can we have some me time? We time. When phones are not just, on the table, but probably on off, and just focus on one another. That would be one. But the other thing is that marriages are failing to work today because we've misplaced values. We have a wrong value system of what makes a marriage good. Rodah, I have a big problem with young people today, or even the older one, who prioritize good life over a good marriage. And this is what I mean. There's a time that 2 shillings to buy clean water was a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
But our love was never taken away. Because, by the way, marriage is, we are kept together not by love. Now, this may sound awkward, but by commitment.
Oh, yes. That's true.
Because the word love from Greek, agapeo, because Greek has 4 words for love. Agapeo is a godly love. Actually, part of the definition of the word agapeo is commitment. Because the love that a lot of times we are looking for so that we feel loved is eros, phileo. That is based on circumstances. Eros has to be with romance, and we're in February, and the month of February, just like 14th, because and everybody is buying their love, flowers, and taking them to this wonderful dinner, and nothing else the rest of the year.
The rest of the year.
We will see you next year, April,
February
such a
14th.
time as this. I mean, what if we did these things in small bits throughout? One of the things that we've tried to do, we don't know, in different seasons we've managed to do it. The seasons we've gotten so busy, but we've attempted to date each other once a week.
A week?
Once a week. And we have found every time we've done that, we have less conflicts.
Yes.
Sometimes zero. Because by the time that a conflict is beginning to rise, we deal with it. But if we take a month before we have that time out, we have so much. We've piled up things. We can't even remember exactly what you did. I am angry, but I know I am angry. I'm
Then you
supposed to
start
be
explaining,
angry.
And then when you're explaining it,
Yes.
you forget the details.
Yeah,
Is that really why I'm mad?
exactly. Then the other thing that is making marriages not work is when we don't understand the season that we are in. Because in different seasons of marriage, and not necessarily age-based, not how many years you've been in marriage, but is it a time that you're expecting a child? It's a season. Is it a time that one of you is at school? It's a season. Is it a time that you don't have a lot of money? You don't have too much money to spend on different things. It's a season. You can't buy too many. Loss. It's a season. So if you know the season that you're in, then you can deal with the issues at that point as that per that season. So those are some of the things that I would say.
Maybe you can add.
Yeah, I can add something. I found marriage to be an institution where you have to die daily to self desires daily, and sometimes hour by hour,
minute by minute.
minute by
Someone
minute.
told me I thought I have to choose him every day, not that just on the wedding day.
Yes,
That's true.
exactly.
I
yeah.
choose
That's
him
true.
every day.
Exactly. And the Bible says that we, as we follow Christ, we have to choose to die to self, and follow Christ. So I got to choose to die to self, my desires, my ambitions, and all that, so that I can follow Him.
Yes.
I can submit, and I can make this thing work, because it's a choice. Whichever way you go, you have to choose. And the unfortunate bit is, if you don't choose marriage, then you choose to opt out. So to please God, because again, we need to look at this as something bigger than ourselves, because we have children, and we also have people who are looking up to us and want to please God. So am I honoring God in this? So many a times we're just selfish, me and what I'm feeling, and things have not been done, and so everything else take a back seat, including God. So can we put God first and ask ourselves, so what is God saying about this? Am I really doing the right thing? And most of the time you'll find it's just my selfish desires that make me conflict with him so much. And I'm so angry at him because he didn't do something for me that I badly wanted. So dying to self and following Christ.
And let me add one more thing that I think I would call, if someone would ask me what's the rule of thumb, and especially if a couple is at a point where they're wondering, is it worth fighting for this marriage? And this is what I would call the rule of the thumb. If we can put the same efforts in making our marriages work as we are putting elsewhere, most of our marriages would actually work. In fact, one of the questions that I would ask any person who is wanting to get into marriage, and I mean it, are you ready to give up anything else for the sake of this marriage? And I keep on saying, if the answer is no, then probably you're not ready to get married. Because there may come a time when you have to make that decision. And you have to ask yourself, is this marriage the most important relationship that I have? And this is the point. And then the sad reality that Christians have forgotten. The only relationship in this world, for me, that is a covenant relationship. It's between me and Peris. Because I have no covenant with my parents, apparently. I just found myself there. You have no covenant with your pastor. No, because your covenant, as far as your salvation is concerned, it's with Christ. It's with the Lord of the church. It's not the pastor. Even if you call him daddy or whatever you may call him. Mzazi. So the only relationship that is by covenant is this. So for that reason, this is for me the most important relationship that I have under the sun. So it is God, then her, then my children. So for everyone, God blesses with children. Then work, career, ministry, friends, and everything else. So if I would be thinking of my life as a basket where I'm putting the things that matter, of course, God has to be the foundation. Then I put my wife in there. And then I put my children. If there is any space left, then I can fit in things. I can, In fact, I tell my church, she's the one person who can stop me, make me quit ministry. Because if it's not okay with us, then what am I telling the congregation? But unfortunately, a lot of times we do not want to work at our marriages. We don't want to give it time. We do not want to give it our knees in prayer. We do not want to understand each other. When we have conflicts, then we also go to the wrong source of information. We are TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, X, and everybody else who we have no clue, not, sound stuff like what you're doing here. But so we want to borrow from everyone else, and they tell us this thing does not work. There's no husbands who are, they stick with one woman out there. I mean,
wrong sources.
Wow, thank you for that wisdom. Walio na masikio, those with ears I've heard, thank you so much. I wish we could do this for another hour. Oh wait, you're parenting teenagers who are almost young adults. What's one word of advice, parenting advice you would give?
Wow. Be close to your children. In good and in bad times.
At what point?
From the time they are born. From the way you hold your baby and talk to them when they are nursing, and of course endearing the children to the father. Just be close. Be close. Because that's where you pick and you pick things, and also you get learning moments. And it's not guaranteed that because you've been close, they will not go wherever and do things. They will do things that will surprise you, but because you're close, you still love them. Love them. Yes.
For husbands, remember by the time your child is born, for fathers, by the time your child is born, your wife is already 9 months ahead. She has been bonding with your son or your daughter for 9 months. And unfortunately, some of them fathers don't even touch the tummy of the child because the communication begins while they're still in the stomach. So you have a lot of catching up to do. That's the reason some fathers wonder why it's only the mother that the children want to call when they leave home. Because even so, this is what the fathers need to do. Just remember that everything that you're doing, let the children know that you're doing together. So even if it's a mother that is probably more available, though, find a way of being available. I like the system of hospitals, especially the government hospitals. If there's a clinic for a mother, and they see the man with her, he's put on the front of the line.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So please take your wife for those prenatal clinics.
So that we
begin
do
the
30
journey.
minutes and we are done.
Exactly. and go to school for the parents' day meeting. Just get involved with the life of your children. But also, if you have more than one child, they're not the same.
They're not the same.
The worst mistake that a parent can do to their child is to compare them with their siblings. We have 3 children, and they are all different.
Very different.
One is very jumpy, another one is very quiet and okay to be just alone with his stuff there. Another one, a different direction. But saying, why are you not like, No. Just take care of each child differently. Then commit them to God, pray for them, read the Word of God together, teach them how to read the Bible as soon as they learn how to read. Let them even before they learn to read Bible stories. Exactly.
That's true. They can understand Joseph and his brother.
Exactly.
And being authentic as parents. How you live in your bedroom with the children, because they are watching, they can feed phones and all that. So just be authentic.
That's true.
You get angry, they know you're angry. You apologize when you need to apologize.
Exactly.
Explain where you need to explain a few things. Be strict when you need to be strict with them. You know, and just speaking those things and not being the super parent. I used to be a day. I never used to be lazy like you. It's not even realistic in life. And when you go out, I mean, just live your life. That your child can hug you in front of people.
That's true.
Not for a show, but they know mommy loves me. Daddy
Teenagers
loves me.
can't force.
You can't force things.
And again, in this day and age, the saying, it takes a village to raise a child is partly true in our generation. Parents, be at the center of the well-being of your child. Because the reality is we are living at a time when our children can be taken advantage of. And if they are naive, they don't know a lot of things. So sleepovers, take care. Just get to know whether they really have to do the sleepovers. Holiday, and you're sending them all home, and you will see them when it's time to go back to school.
In January.
Stay with your children. Just take care. We are in a different age altogether.
Even the people you host.
Exactly. Even the people you host.
Relatives.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true.
It's a sad reality because a lot of cases of abuse, even, people who are telling you, it's actually a cousin who introduced me to this habit, to this, it's an uncle, so we need to just take care of our children.
That's profound.
Unfortunately, even grannies would introduce children to things, abuse our children, and they're the same one that we threw our children to. 2 months of holiday, the long holiday. Let's take care of our children. There's a neighbor who challenged us sometime because we had a high turnover of house girls, and we were sad and wondering, did you give birth
for the house
help?
Your children.
Your children. And that's what matters. Take care of your children.
That's true.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your wisdom and your time. Looking forward to the, remind me,
29th of March.
29th of March, there's
Kilimo
a couples
Resort.
event.
In Gikambura.
Check the details on the first comment of this video. I'll upload them there and on social media as well. Your church is called?
Kenya Assemblies of God Kikuyu.
KAG Kikuyu.
Yes, KAG Kikuyu.
At
Exactly.
Kifamako.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for watching. What have you
Thank
learned?
you.
We'd love to know what you've learned in the comment section as well. If you have a recommendation of who should come on the show as well, let me know. My number is always on the description of the videos as well. And let's keep honoring our marriages. Even if you're not married, honor the marriages around you. God bless you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
As we wind up, this is for you.
Oh,
Yeah, you can have
wow,
this
thank
calendar.
you. Thank you very
so
much.
that every day you open
My
a page
goodness.
as you pray
Wow,
for your
praise
marriage.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.